Let's go to work. Guys, Facebook. Guys, namaste. God bless. Shit. How are all of you? Happy Wednesday. A day late. And for a damn good reason. I'm at a loss for words. I mean, unless you live under a rock, you know what's going on right now. And it's fitting because I had this show ready to go last night. And something said, wait, this doesn't feel right. Let's do this tomorrow, which is today. And exactly what happened. You know, coming up on September 11th, obviously tomorrow, and what happened today in plain sight for the world to see, not since probably JFK that we saw what happened today. The saddest thing, and honestly the hardest thing for me to imagine, because I got sucked into it. I got home, just finished eating, and sure enough, boom, right in front of me, the situation just happened basically live, just as I was getting ready to lay down to take my afternoon cat nap to get powered up. And it sucked me in for at least an hour. And coming up on tomorrow, September 11th, and events like this today, you know, it saddened me to see it happen, obviously, but most importantly, his kids were there. His kids were there, and his wife was there. And if you guys seen the video, which most likely all of you have, the gory details behind it speaks for itself. That's the picture they're going to have of their father, or husband, or son. For the parents of Charles Kirk. But what's more profoundly the psychological effect. This is what's happening with the internet. And this is, mind you, when things like this happen, I look at it from a standpoint of, okay, things happen, I understand it. You know, it's how life is. What can we do to change that? What can we do to change outcomes like this? Because situations like this are always going to happen. They're always going to happen. There's always going to be scenarios. But if you keep watching stuff like this, now basically Facebook and every social media outlet is plastered with the videos of that, which to me is terrible because this family's got to live with that the rest of their lives. People are just sharing it. You know, imagine if it was related to you, out of respect for them. And they didn't do that years ago. I mean, they wouldn't show content like this years ago for that specific reason. Because it would emotionally wreck people. And what happened today, and what's happening constantly in the past week, even with the Metro bus issue with that woman, it's called emotional anchoring. The media loves this shit. They feed off on it. And they want you, you know, if it bleeds, it leads. And they're going to show you every facet of it, and they're going to add their opinion to it. I have nothing against the media. I have nothing against information. What bothers me is when people put their personal opinions with it. Just report the facts and be quiet and shut up, meatball. That's all I care about it. But emotional anchoring as a result of what's happening today, what happened on September 11th. I mean, these are indelible mental snapshots that are going to stay in your mind forever. Remember that. I actually created an affirmation to help you guys get through stuff like this, because if you keep taking that mental snapshot, the emotional anchoring you're causing is devastating. Yes, get the information. You can be informed, but don't be inundated. You want to save the planet, you want to save the world, become a better human. If the collective consciousness all gathered together to stop this madness, that's what's going on around us, the world will be a better place indeed, because it's the powers that be. One person can't change it, but you can change yourself. You can become a better person all in all, and not negative throughout life, because most of them, you're bettering yourself and you're enhancing your life, but the people around you are going to absorb that energy. You know, I take the Buddha format when it comes to stuff like this, because yes, I want to be informed. Yes, I want to see what's going on, to learn from it. How can we better ourselves from it? And tragically, people are going to be lost as a result of it. But when you start getting into emotional anchoring, and this stuff starts compounding in your thought process, it's going to become your state of mind, hence your mood. This is why people go into fits of rage and issues that are happening in today's society. Emotional anchoring, a trigger, a specific stimulus that triggers an emotional response. The first thing you saw when you saw the events of today, if you saw them, or from September 11th, what's your initial response? That's what's getting anchored. And if you keep looking at that image, you keep looking at it, you keep reading about it, and doing all this work into it, guess what? It's going to get anchored even harder, and it's going to control your state of mind. So the point being is, I'm saying, don't ignore what has happened, and the people, obviously, send prayers to them and good vibrations to them. But the more you dwell on it, the more you become it, is my point. So not necessarily just get on with your life. All I'm saying is be careful what you're letting in. Be careful what you're allowing in your life. You inundate yourself with constant media of what's going on out there, the small percentage of what's going on out there, and you inundate yourself with that, you are going to become it emotionally. It's going to be devastating in your life. This is why, people laugh, because back in the day, they wouldn't allow kids or anybody, if you had to be 18, to actually buy adult magazines back then. They weren't stupid. They weren't being prudes. They're saying sex is very powerful, emotional, and it can be devastating to people. The minute they lifted that, look at the world today. It's an open porn show. Look at the devastation it's causing. Look how it's ruining relationships. This is exactly what I'm talking about. When you allow it in, when you flood the airways with it, people are going to start looking at it like that. They're going to become attached to it. I was actually sucked into it today because I was appalled, first off. But most importantly, the emotional aspect from it. People never forget where they were when JFK got shot. People will never forget where they were when September 11th happened. It's those emotional anchoring events that if you keep reopening that, it's going to run your life. So anybody who's into transformation understands, indeed, we want to be informed, but we're not going to be inundated by what had happened. We're going to be our best selves. And hopefully this helps people to realize, to change the world, you change yourself. One soul at a time. The billions of us that are on this planet right now can definitely help ourselves by becoming better selves and putting that narrative out every day. And this violence will stop. A lot of this will stop because the hate will stop. You stop feeding the fire and the flame will get smaller. Eventually it'll go. You stop feeding stories like this with constant shares and likes. It's not going to be popular. But most importantly, watch what you're letting in. Don't allow what's going on outside to affect your inside. That's so imperative to your well-being, because think about how you felt, from 9/11 or what happened today or what happened last week. It's a constant, think about it. That's the whole point. They're constantly feeding us this fire, wanting it to get bigger. And I'm not talking about some conspiracy theorists, no. I'm talking about what's going on. You see it everywhere. The internet was supposed to be informative as a way for people to communicate. It's turned into now to propaganda and all kinds of things that aren't conducive to a healthy mindset. I'm saying use it for what it's for. Use it for information to better yourself. Yeah, we want to respect what has happened. We want to show sympathy. We want to show compassion. But when you keep feeding it and sharing all these situations that are going on, they're out there forever. And like I said, most importantly, I feel bad for his family, because now his kids have to watch for the rest of their lives constant pictures of their loved one his life being taken. All I'm saying is, when emotional anchoring starts taking effect, it starts getting worse and worse and worse. And the minute you keep allowing those images in your mind about what you saw to encumber everything about you, it starts affecting your mood. And then it starts affecting everything about you. I felt like crap when I watched that. But I looked at it, I said, I'm going to learn from this. I'm going to show others how to deal with this. And really think about this affirmation. My thoughts are my cause, and my reality is my effect. My thoughts are my cause, and my reality is my effect. So the more you keep thinking about what's going on in the world, and you keep immersing yourself into it, that's going to be your thoughts. Think about this. What's going to be the effect? Your magnet, your feeling about it, and hence situations to match it out there. And out of the quote box today, have an anchor so life doesn't toss you around. That's from Debbie Ryan. And she was the Disney star Sweet Life with Zach and Cody, I think it was. I watched all that shit with my kids, man. I mean, I loved it. Hannah Montana. It was great because it was happy television. It was how life should be and can be. And she actually had an issue where she ran into a problem with the law, got drunk behind the wheel, got caught, but reinvented herself and transformed from that. What helped her from that? She had an anchor so life doesn't toss her around. To get out of the state of mind that the past week has given us was to go back to your anchor. Hence who you are, your faith, your belief, your goals, your dreams. Not to forget, but not to dwell on it. In other words, what has happened. In other words, to get yourself back to where you want to go, you got to have something there as your anchor, your purpose, your goals, your passions, your dreams, to get yourself back up, to get yourself out of that state of mind of sadness and anger and rage. Because the more you fester in that, the more you are going to attract that. My thoughts are my cause, and my reality is my effect. The next time you lose your shit, remember those words, because that's going to perpetuate. It's a matter of you finding the anchor in your life, whatever it might be, like I said, whatever gives you passion. Because yes, indeed, things like this happen. The internet now is a force that can inform you or destroy you. What do you want to use it for? I use it for information, indeed. Yeah, sometimes I get sucked in like today because I felt bad for his family, not any other aspect of it. I said, Jesus, man, the guy's kids are right there. That was my biggest problem. But to get out of that state of mind, you have to get back to what? Your anchor, your emotional anchor of who you are. And do it to the best of your abilities. Honor the ones that have fallen. Honor the ones that were hurt. Honor the ones that are suffering indeed with thoughts and prayers. But when you start letting yourself become emotionally involved with it to the point where it's affecting your life, I mean, this is not selfish. This is not, because you're sending out good vibes to all. You're being the best self. You're making the world a better place, one soul at a time. It's my own personal perspective. You can take it, you can believe it, you can run with it, you can get angry with it. But the point being is, the more you dwell on what's going on in the world today, the more you you allow it into your emotional system, it's going to get anchored. And you're actually going to be part of the problem instead of solving the problem. Solving the problem is peace. Solving the problem is a better self. Solving the problem is you entering every day of life knowing that you are going to be a better person. And showing the world that every day, because people feed off that, just like they're feeding off this shit off the internet now. So why not give it better food, give it a better self, understand who you are, and push that narrative forward every day. Never let your goals go away. Never let your passion go away. Never let yourself be inundated so much where it affects your mood and ruins your day. Remember, be compassionate indeed, but get back to your anchor, your passions, your goals, your dreams, the person that you've always wanted to be. Get back up, stand back up, and don't allow what life keeps throwing at you to set you back down again. Because if they do it enough, you're going to start getting used to it. And you're going to have an emotional anchoring to that event, and you're going to keep replaying it psychologically, hence the hamster wheel. It's like the person who goes into a relationship still hung up on the last relationship. They just created the next relationship the same way as their last one ended. And when people realize that, they realize what they're letting in. They realize how life is. They realize, most importantly, how they think. When you realize how you think, guys, you'll realize where you're going. Remember these words: my thoughts are my cause, and my reality is my effect. When you find yourself losing your shit, believe me, reiterate those words and realize that you're creating the next step in this present moment. So I hope this little, I had a whole show set up here, man. I was going to feature A Guide to Confident Living by Norman Vincent Peale. Indeed, maybe I'll do it tomorrow on Kurt's show, but today's episode was a great example of how the power of the internet is either helping you or destroying you. You've got to make the choice for yourself, whether you want to keep inundating yourself with images that are going to get anchored in your own subconscious mind, that are actually going to destroy you in certain ways of your life, guys. So America's Mentor _radio on Instagram, hashtag Jerry Maldonado on YouTube. Much love for the follows and subscriptions on YouTube, guys. Please make the choice, make better choices for yourself. Honor the people that have been hurt in the best way you can, in thoughts, prayers, and posts. But just be careful what you're allowing in. Be careful. Don't let it emotionally grapple you, because it eventually will destroy you. Guys, much love. Happy Wednesday. I'll talk to you guys soon, man.